The following production is brought to you by the Talkin' Buds Leaf Show.
So I had this moment before the Sunday night game in Nashville where I'm scrolling Twitter and I'm going to the usual beat guys and I'm like, who are the line combos going to be? Who are the line combos going to be? And I see Keefe is going with 6 defensemen, with the pairings being McCabe, Brody, Riley, Shen, Giordano, and Hall. And I sat back and I thought, we've been talking a lot about who the starting 6 is going to be for game 1. And when I look at that, I went, this is it. Liljegren's out, Gustafson's out, and I think this is the 6 that Keefe is going to roll with. I want to have a talk about Timothy Liljegren in general in a minute, but when you look at that, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think the only guy who has any shot of just getting in and out is Shen, but I think the other 5 are set in stone, and Luke's going to have to lose his spot to be pulled out of the lineup.
I think it depends on how rough the Lightning want to play, because if that is the value that Luke Shen brings. We've seen enough games of him back in a Leaf uniform now that is the value that he provides. You would look at him and you think Justin Holl actually laid a nice hit in Nashville, but you look at him and you go, he's an upgrade physically over the quote unquote bottom 4, which is Hall, Liljegren, Gustafsson, and Shen. So you look at Shen and you go, he's the if we're going for physicality, he's the number 1 choice.
Yeah, it's his ice time has been pretty sheltered since he's been in the lineup. Even with 6D last night, he only had 13 minutes when Riley had 18. So, that's a little bit of power play time in there as well, but they are kind of shielding some minutes. Sheldon Keefe's pretty quick on the trigger to just throw in a random line or pair, but I don't really have a problem with it. Everyone who's watched Justin Holl play hockey for this team for the past couple of years, I feel like we all have a little bias that we're kind of sick of watching him, so you want to see some new exciting names in there, but he's not coming out of the lineup. When he plays well, he plays well. So it's just, I just want to see Keefe just go with it. Just, you know what, pick your 6, go with it, see what happens.
All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about how I do love the loading up of McCabe and Brody as your top pair, but we'll park that for a second because you brought up Justin Holl. I want to talk about Timothy Liljegren because there's been a drop off in his play in the last few weeks, basically since the trade deadline. And we've been very vocal on this podcast all year about, wow, this guy's improved so much. He's made such a huge difference. At one point we've said he's a top 4 guy, and I do believe at one point he played as though he was a top 4 guy. But there has been a definite drop off in his play. Do you buy into I think the 7 guys has really screwed him up because I think he's a guy that I think needs to settle in to his place in the lineup, and I think having this defensive depth has sort of gotten in his head. He's playing with less confidence. He's turning the puck over. There were several instances in the Carolina game on Saturday night where he just would flat out turn the puck over, and I'm sitting there going Tim, my guy, what's happening? What are we doing here? And the more I think about it, I think bringing in these depth pieces and having them rotate, one, it's made him uncomfortable, and I think he's probably the type of player that needs to be comfortable in order to play well. And 2, he's kind of scared of making a mistake because if you make a mistake, you're out of the lineup and one of these other guys is in, and thus he's playing like it. He's playing like he's making boneheaded decisions out there.
It's not even that. It's he almost has the yips. There's been a couple instances this season where he's just flat out whiffed on a breakout pass and it's led to a goal. It's almost like he has the yips. And you think about Galchenyuk in the playoffs when he threw the puck away. You think about Dermott when he threw the puck away. And it's just, sometimes you fan on a puck, but if you're going to make those type of mistakes and have the yips while trying to make a breakout pass, like you can't be doing that in game 5, game 6, game 7. So as long as he's doing that, he's not going to be in the lineup. And also, like, just if he's not moving the puck, which is his like quote unquote specialty, then then you have bigger guys in there who are more physical, who are moving the puck just as well as he is right now. So you're out. And he's the young guy too, so he kind of gets. He's not that young anymore, but compared to these other guys, he's pretty young. And so he's the guy who just kind of gets the boot.
It's too bad because I think he's had a really good season overall. And I think that he's somebody who, and say what you want about this, like he has said that his 2 best friends on the team were Sandin and Engvall, the 3 Swedes. And now he's by himself. And I don't know. I just think a lot of stuff has contributed to the fact that he's mentally not where he should be, and that is contributing to his lackluster play on the ice. Because we could go back through every episode thus far this season. How many times have I sat here beside you and gone, Timothy Liljegren, he looks fantastic. He's in their top 4. You can't take him out. And I've been kind of in denial about it the last few weeks.
I think last week or 2 weeks ago, he was in for us.
Yes, we were roasting Sheldon Keefe for pulling him out. We said this is undeserved. And if you look at it, if you want to pinpoint it, since that moment, he has not been the same hockey player.
Yeah.
And so I feel bad for the guy. But if you look at the 6 that started in Nashville, to me, that's the 6 that are starting in game 1. And I touched on it earlier, but I love the McCabe-Brody as your top pair. I think that's your number 1 pair. Those are 2 defensively responsible guys. And I love the way Jake McCabe goes out of his way to finish every check. TJ Brody is like, we've referred to him as the security blanket.
Got a good stick.
Yeah, he's got a good stick. Like to me, that's the best number 1 defense pair they've had going into a postseason in this entire era. And I also love you can say what you want about Riley with Shen, but any way you can get Morgan Riley to play some more sheltered minutes and away from the other team's top players and let him wheel and deal a little bit more offensively, that's something you got to try to explore, because that's when he's at his best, when he's contributing offensively, as opposed to being like, you're in a shutdown defensive role tonight.
He's been better though.
Yeah, he has been better.
He's been better. I've seen it. We started out with the lines, and first of all, we just got to get to, I think that was the best weekend of hockey I've seen this team play, maybe all season. They were phenomenal. Like, in terms of coming on here for the past couple weeks and we keep saying, like, we just got to look for things that can apply to a playoff series. If their top lines, if Austin Matthews is going to forecheck like I saw him forecheck over the weekend, we're good, baby. I've never seen him skate like that before. I've never seen him forecheck like that before. And I would say that when he is doing that, he is the most dangerous forechecker. The guy can lift a stick like nothing I've ever seen in my entire life. He looked like a man possessed. And that line looked incredible. They were dominant. Even in that loss, they were dominant.
The Carolina game on Saturday night was the definition of like a feel-good loss. Like they deserved a better fate, and they played really, really well. And when it was over, like, you were disappointed because they deserved better. It wasn't a situation where you were like, oh my God, if they hadn't done this or that, it would have been different. It's like, no, that's a good hockey team that they played, and they played them really well. How much of that loss do you put on Matt Murray?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because I saw a lot of people who were, and I'm like, and this is like the contingent of the fan base that is like anti-Murray. But I did see quite a few takes on Twitter on Saturday night of people being like, if Joe Woll even is in the net, they have a better chance of winning that game.
I don't think you put the blame on Murray at all for that game. I mean, like, I don't know.
What do you think of the 4 goals thing? Like whether he plays well or not.
Yeah.
Whether he plays well or not, the guy has let in 4 goals every time he started since he's come back.
All I've said on this podcast is I'm not a Murray. Like, I've never been start Murray. Like, it's just, I don't think he's that great. I think what they're hoping for is just somehow he enters the playoffs and just becomes a completely different goalie of the past. Like, do I think that's going to happen? Probably not, but I've never been a massive Matt Murray like lover.
Well, I think we should be clear that we were saying it's a possibility he starts game one last episode, and that's not because we are sort of championing him to do so. It's because we just are looking at it through the lenses of the organization and how they feel about him and why they brought him in. Like, it was more of this is a realistic option for them, despite how we feel about him as fans.
And I'm also a little worried about Samsonov's time off here. Like, what if he had a baby. I mean, he was dealing with a couple minor injuries. He comes back, and what if he just sucks? And also, like, you could also make the argument that Ilya Samsonov's been very good this year, but has there been a game where he's stolen one? I think if you look back at all his starts, there's not really a game in there where he's like completely stolen a game. Matt Murray, like one game in Dallas where he faced a zillion shots and stood on his head, and the game against Ottawa where they won in the shootout, even though he gave up a bunch of goals that game, he was getting peppered all night. So he has shown the ability to play like he could steal a game, but overall, just his health and just overall the games, like Samsonov's just been better. Well, and deserves a little bit more.
I'm not going to sit here and say, like, put it out in the world that Joe Woll could be an option, but I do, after watching him play. No, but listen, who do you feel better having as your third string goalie, Joe Woll or Michael Hutchinson?
Yeah, third string, I get it.
Joe Woll or David Riddick.
But it is funny when a no-name, like this town.
He played well. Tell me he didn't play really well.
He did. Yeah. This city, though, just loves like the idea of like Joe Woll could be like Jordan Binnington and like just step in and could create magic.
Yourself, you know why people feel that way, Ryan? Because that is the brass ring that everyone is trying to reach. You yourself have ranted numerous times on this podcast about this organization's like complete and utter ineptness when it comes to drafting and developing goaltenders. So I think when people see a guy who's drafted and developed in the organization having the season that he's having in the American Hockey League with the Marlies and playing the way he plays, people kind of are like, wow, this is like, we've literally never seen this as Leaf fans. A guy who is a goalie in the organization with some upside and the potential to be like a good goalie at the National Hockey League level.
I guarantee you that there's like at least 20% of the fan base would look you dead in the eye right now and be like, I would start him game one.
Ryan, you can go on Twitter right now. You could go on Twitter the second the Nashville game ended on Sunday night, and I tell you, it's more than 20% that are saying he should be the backup to Samsonov and not Matt Murray.
This is a tough conversation. Like, I don't hate Matt Murray like other people hate Matt Murray. I don't. And I've liked Samsonov all year. I think he's been phenomenal, but you can also see that sometimes like he could also like, he's also had his moments where he hasn't been great, you know, like and like, yeah, it's nice to have a third string guy who you feel confident in. But at the end of the day, how many games has he played this season? 3? 4?
Well, I also think people get really excited about the season he's having in the American
which is
Hockey
awesome.
League.
I love that. And you know what? It would be the great, like, I'm not going to lie. Like, it is in the back of my mind, too, where it's like, wouldn't it be sick if, like, you just went on, because sometimes you do see this. Jordan Binnington, perfect example. Remember what's his face in Ottawa that one year, the Hamburglar?
Yeah,
like,
the Hamburglar.
You know, like sometimes these guys do come up and they don't know any better. They just get in the net. They just go on a heater. So
I don't think anyone is sitting here saying Joe Woll should be the game one starter. But
there are people saying that.
No. I can confirm to you 100% that I did see some takes last night that people were like, Your two goalies going into game one should be Samsonov 1 and Joe Woll 2, and just get Matt Murray out of my sight. I saw a lot of that last night.
That's silly.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
not something they're doing. Like they're not doing that.
Happening.
They're not doing. No, there's zero chance they're doing that.
That's an ultimate like if you were a coach and you had to make, I don't know whose call that is. I don't know if Dubas is making that call, Keefe's making that call, or it's a 50-50 split, but you'd have some sort of nuts on you and some sort of instinct to make that move. Like, that's not happening.
I would even go as far as to say that if Matt Murray or Ilya Samsonov has a game in the playoffs where they get absolutely shelled, that's still not happening. The only way Joe Woll is sitting on the bench in the playoffs is if a guy's hurt. That's it.
Everybody's crying, but it's just like, look at the season this team's had. They've had a very good season, very consistent season. They've done it with these two guys. Like, Joe Woll stepped in a couple games, but it's... And Liljegren played a couple, but it's, for the most part, like, Murray and Samsonov have shared the net for this very good season. So it's like, I don't think, I will say right now, hot take right now, prediction that if they lose this series in the first round, I don't think it's going to be goaltending related. I don't. I saw Jack Campbell be in the net last season. Jack Campbell is the worst goalie in the NHL this season. It's not even close. And he gave them a chance to win. Like, I don't think that it's going to come down to us being like, oh, our goaltending sucks. I honestly don't. You got to pick a guy. Just pick a guy. To me, Samsonov has earned it more, but if he comes back from the stretch and sucks, then you got a real conversation on your hands here. No one's going to be happy either. Like who's going to be happy?
No one's
like,
gonna
you
be
pick
happy.
Like, I think Samsonov's the easy choice because he's had the better season, but at the end of the day, whoever they pick, everyone on Twitter is going to freak out. No one's going to be happy.
I need you to, like, counsel me here, because I've said a couple of times in the last few weeks that I don't love their game defensively. I haven't loved their game defensively in a long time. It seems like the house is on fire back there, man. There's running around. Everybody's out of position. Multiple times in the middle of a game do I see the middle of the ice just completely wide open for a quality scoring chance.
What the eye test is telling me right now, the eye test is they are not very... A lot of teams right now are funneling the puck back to the point and getting shots from the point and getting traffic out front. They don't do a great job of blocking shots. They don't. Like, when you look at when the Leafs are funneling the puck around, they try to get the shot off from the point. It seems like it's blocked every time by the other team. I feel like they're not the greatest shot blocking hockey team, and it's just leaving them vulnerable. And also, I find they have a very good face-off percentage, but lately I find that they are losing some key defensive zone face-offs, like the one that Nashville scored on the power play. Like, it's, I don't know. But at the same time, if you look at the way they played this weekend, if they play like that, that's going to help them from being like, they weren't hemmed in as much as they usually were.
I just think, to me, it looks like, and again, this is pure eye test. Someone with numbers will come up to me and tell me that I'm a complete idiot. Happens all the time. But it looks out of sorts to me. It doesn't look organized. It doesn't look like people are in position. It looks like they get running around, and it always looks like the opposing, like, there were numerous moments in the Carolina game where there's a black jersey just chilling in the middle of the ice. And I don't know. I don't love it. I love a lot of things about their game right now, especially in the offensive zone. Like, the power play looked really good. Austin Matthews is just on another planet. Mitch Marner, like, incredible. I don't know, man. Like, they get back in the defensive zone, and I'm like, I just keep having these flashes of, like, being in Tampa, and there they are scurrying around their own end while Tampa's just dominating possession. I don't know. But then Tampa can't win a game. So I don't know what to think right now.
Yeah, we're just gonna nitpick. Like, it's just this season, it needs to end. Like,
yeah, it does.
When I see TV spots running for the Jays season opener, that's a good, clear indication that this season really needs to end.
Yeah, it does.
But they have some. You have the schedule up right here. There's some big games still.
Panthers,
they got some
Sens, Red Wings.
They got the
Blue
Bruins
Jackets.
and Lightning. They got the Panthers 2 more times who are fighting for a playoff spot. Ottawa's the greatest hockey team I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, they should have beat the Leafs that one game, and then they destroyed the Lightning. Like, they're a damn good hockey team. The Habs
always play the Leafs
no
tough.
cakewalk.
Habs always play the Leafs.
And then they got
tough.
the Rangers. Like, you know, like, This needs to end, though. I'm over it.
Yeah.
Because we just keep coming on here and just
recycling the
same narratives, and
yeah.
we talk about the same D pairs, and we're going to argue about the goalies till we're blue in the face, but it's just all the proof's going to be in the pudding after the game one.
You hit on something last episode, and I thought you were so right. Austin Matthews forechecking is on another planet, and if you were going to look at, clearly he was dealing with an injury that's feeling better. But if you're going to look at what the major change in his game has been over the last 2 weeks, it is without question the speed and intensity with which he is forechecking in the other team's zone.
Yeah, sometimes he looks like he's stripping like house league players of pucks below the goal line. Like he's that good. Like he when he is doing that, you could make the argument that there is no better skilled player who forechecks as well as he does. Like, holy shit.
I'm gonna
And he's big. And he's actually like leaning on somebody. Not hit. He's never gonna go in and nail someone, but he's actually leaning on someone and lifting their stick and taking the puck pretty easily.
I'm gonna clip that and post that on social media, and there is going to be so many Edmonton Oilers Connor McDavid fans that are going to
No, Connor McDavid doesn't need to forecheck because when he gets the puck, he doesn't need to pass it. He can just skate through the entire team. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But like you talk about, we've always talked about, Austin Matthews is a big boy who he's never going to run anybody over, but he can lean on someone. And I've seen him leaning on people and stripping pucks like it's nothing. And look what happens when he does. Like he's unstoppable. He had 15 shots the other night.
I know. He was all around it, man. When he scored the goal, I was like, it was just a matter of time. Like he was all around it.
And Carolina is a team that we've seen, like that's a puck possession team. Like they are on it all the time. And Austin Matthews just said, F this, and absolutely reversed it on them. And he had the puck the whole day. 15 shots on net. That's ridiculous.
Speaking of shots on net, how much are you reading into that? And I've also got to the point that I think whoever does the shot counter for Sportsnet and TSN, like it's out of, like, so the first like 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes of the Nashville game, I was kind of watching out of the corner of my eye because I was finishing making dinner. And I look up and like the Predators have like 11 shots. And I'm like, there's no way.
That happened in the Carolina game too.
There's no way.
That's 2 games in a row where through the first 10 minutes of the period, they were getting outshot
double digits, yeah.
Like the other team had double digits before they even had 3.
And I'm starting to read into that. Like there's a lot of people who are like, oh, outshot again. And it's like, 1, I think whoever's counting the shots is drunk. And 2, it's like, it clearly doesn't mean that much. Like they're a team that more often than not doesn't start games quickly. As long as they keep it out of their net, they really do bounce back. And even in the Carolina game, they gave up 2 quick goals and had a ticky-tack brutal penalty go against Nola Chari in that game, but they were able to bounce back and tie it up. So yeah, I don't really read that much into shots on goal anymore.
Well, then they came back and completely outshot the Hurricanes, which is what you want to see, because when they played the Sens, they got down early on shots and they got outshot by like 30. So like why you love these games this weekend is there's 2 games where they were down by 10 shots 10 minutes into the game, and then they storm back and they completely turn around. They turn on the forechecking. The top players look like the top players, and then they end up out shooting the other teams. Like that's what you want to see this weekend. I think it's just like if you hate on any part of their game this weekend, other than people hating on Matt Murray, I guess, then you are a hater, because I really liked what I saw this weekend.
Oh no, 100%. So did Sheldon Keefe. You and Sheldon.
Yeah, phenomenal.
So did everyone else. Yeah, I mean, if you're picking at things this weekend, you're just picking at negatives. I said earlier, like I brought up the defensive zone coverage earlier, and it's like I said, to me that's pure eye test, and it doesn't look great. But if you look at the numbers and the results, it argues against it. So
yeah,
this is where when you get into this war of eye tests versus numbers, it's like it shouldn't be versus. They should work together in unison.
Yeah, whatever.
Come together.
Yeah.
Can I read you the Tampa Bay Lightning's last 4 games?
Sure.
5-2 loss to the New Jersey Devils, 3-2 loss to the Montreal Canadiens, 7-2 loss to the Ottawa Senators, and 2-1 loss to the Boston Bruins.
I don't blame anybody for losing to the Bruins. I'll tell you that right now.
But we touched on this last episode about how we're going to give the Lightning their due and their respect, but how can you, like, I don't know.
But like it doesn't. But at the same time, I mean, other than what we've spoke about before, that their D-core isn't as strong as it has been in the past. Like I'm not worried about them. Like they've done this before. They know how to do it. They know how to turn it on, especially against the Leafs, who can turn on any team.
Yes.
The Leafs are a outlet for any team to plug in their energy and completely switch it around.
Toronto Maple outlets.
And then there's the Boston Bruins, who sit 3 of their best players and still beat the Carolina Hurricanes.
I know.
Bergeron didn't play. I'm pretty sure, I forget who else didn't play, but one of their top defensemen, and they still beat the Carolina Hurricanes. So,
well, John Tavares, another 3-point night.
And look who's gonna lead the Leafs in goals this season now.
Austin Matthews.
Yeah, he's all tied up with Willie, and Willie's not scoring right now. So,
what do you think of John Tavares? Another 3-point night against really good on the power play. Looks really, really good on the power play.
Yeah, he needs it. He needed it. He needs it badly. But he's good old John. He's gonna get his 82 points in 82 games this season, or how many games he's gonna end up playing at the end of the season.
Yeah, it's pretty I feel like you and I get a lot of heat because we have been vocal about Johnny, and you and I are always we never diss the contract. We're always saying dissing the contract is not fair, but we do say maybe he doesn't look fleet of foot, and what's the best role for him. But you're right, you just check the box score at the end of every game, and there's John Tavares, and almost every game he's in there.
Yeah, I want to see him scoring. I like when he scores goals, though.
Yes.
There's different. Marner can go out and get 5 assists a night, and he's still going to be a legend. There's something about Johnny, getting those goals that makes you feel good. Parked in front of the net, too. 2 goals where he's parked in front of net, exactly where he's supposed to be, and he's got the hands still to put those babies home.
So this is a pretty slow week. They only have the Florida Panthers on Wednesday, and then they've got another back-to-back. This is really these Sunday games are really cramping our style.
Yeah, it's our time.
Yeah, it is our time.
It's our time.
And they don't.
And they don't even start. What if they started at 1? You could do a post game after.
Well, it's brutal. That's what drives me nuts. It's why? I have the Sportsnet now with NHL Live in it, so I have access to every single hockey game. There are matinees on in the NHL every Friday, Saturday,
the Bruins
Sunday.
Play a matinee every Saturday.
Why is that never an option? You and I were texting each other last night. Sunday night against Nashville this late in the season. That is a game.
Not that stoked.
No, that is a game where if we weren't doing a Leaf podcast and wanted to be as up on everything as we should be in order for people to take us seriously, probably would have skipped that one.
Yeah.
But it's you're right. Why can't that game be at 1 p.m.? Why does it have to be?
The Bruins play at 1 every Saturday.
I don't understand.
Other than when they're playing the Leafs, I feel or the Habs.
Yeah, they get 1 matinee every year, and that's right before Christmas, where they do the for the kids.
More matinee. Yeah,
for the kids. These youngsters, they're not gonna forget it.
All right, I'm bored.
Yep. All right, let's get out of here. We'll be back next week, I guess, because I don't play a ton this week. So if you don't want to miss that, and if you want to stick with us as we head closer to the playoffs, listen, we're just like you. We are scratching and clawing and just desperately waiting for the puck to drop on game 1. We are going to be doing post-game shows all the way through the playoffs. So if you don't want to miss that, hit that like and subscribe button below.
Spread the word. Tell your friends.